Okay, at 6:30, I'd like to call the Leominster Planning Board for June 21st, 2022, 6:30. Open our meeting. We have a scheduled public hearing to continue public hearing for City Council Petition 2022, overflow lots to amend the zoning ordinance pertaining to parking of unregistered vehicles due to the holiday. Continuation was moved from 20th to 6:30 to 6:21. Scheduled by order of the chairman. So out of that, and Elizabeth, could you bring us up to date on this?
Yes. Sal Ciccone on the planning board headed up this edits to this draft that you have in front of you today. It's in your packet. It's dated June 21st, 2022. And Sal and I and Mr. Nile and 4 other folks met as a subcommittee to go over this. A property owner, the conservation agent, the new one. Michelle Hagstrom from ZBA provided some comments. She wasn't able to make the meeting. And they revised the draft that you have in front of you. They decided to add in a definition for vehicle overflow lot that wasn't there previously. And limit the existence of the vehicle overflow lots and tow yards to industrial and commercial zones. And allow for those only with special permit and site plan review. And we figured if they're going to go through site plan review, they're going to be having to have the proper screening and fencing that are going to make it a better transition between the tow yards and other properties and adjacent properties. I know that the city council withdrew the petition, or they tabled or they closed their public hearing on this. So if we want to submit this, we have to submit for a new petition.
Let me fill you in on what happened there. They had the hearing on it, and they knew that we were going to have an additional hearing on it, so they were going to continue it, okay? But when the chairman of that subcommittee finished, he said, I closed the hearing. He didn't mean to close the hearing, but he did.
So we have to resubmit it.
So by him closing the hearing, they cannot accept any information after a hearing is closed. So what we're doing here is, it's still listed as under that petition, but we will resubmit it. It'll get a new petition number, and it will come back to us again after they've had a chance to look at it.
And you might recall there was some extra language at the previous draft regarding parking of one unregistered vehicle per property, but that's already in city code, so we didn't want to be redundant.
Yeah.
So we took that out.
Okay. Now, Mr. Niles is on the committee. Can you fill us in a little bit more on the discussions that went on?
Well, I guess it's just simple as we've got people from other cities and places that want to store unregistered cars here in town, and we wanted something to regulate it. And so it was that simple. It's like right now the only thing that regulates it is we have the rule that says one unregistered vehicle per lot. That seemed like it, as times change, a lot of the used car dealers go to auction, they buy a whole crap load of cars, they want some place to put them. So rather than just finding cars all over the place, this will regulate where they can go, and it gives them an avenue to do what they want to do, but they got rules to follow now.
Yeah.
So.
And this is an outgrowth of a number of places, and I'm sure we've all seen them around town where there's cars just helter-skelter. Now, we do have an ordinance that says, 10 cars or more, is a parking lot, requires a site plan, but that hasn't happened. So that also kicks in. The site plan requirements would fall in with this. Okay, but that's already on the books. So, was there any discussion of the license commission?
There was, and the license commissioner wasn't at the last meeting,
Okay,
but we took out the piece in tow yard. It used to say an outdoor storage facility licensed by the License Commission for the temporary storage of towed vehicles. We took that out. Sal thought it was best to take that out.
oh, okay. Because I know there was some discussion that the License Commission was going to be
Yeah,
involved.
he was unable, he was at the first subcommittee meeting, but he wasn't at the second subcommittee meeting. He was invited, we had sent out an email to him and invited
Okay,
him to the meeting, but he wasn't able to attend.
Do we
But
need-
Sal wanted the licensing commissioner to be at the meeting with the planning board.
So do we need to table this until we hear from the license commission?
That might be, I think, would be Sal's preference.
Okay, then I
And we
move
can
that
invite
we-
him to the July 18th meeting.
Then I move we table the hearing until, or continue the hearing until July 18th at 6:30.
well, we can do that, yeah. Seeing as it's a new petition, you know, there's no rush today to get it done, but it's, we know it's an issue that has to be addressed. And we can, there's no such, you know, this is, in my opinion, I'm not sure whether we have to get legal on this, but once we pass this, grandfathering doesn't, you know, because it's never been allowed. So somebody can't say, come back and say, well, this doesn't apply to me, I'm grandfathered in, because it's just not, there wasn't anything that allowed it in the first place.
John, before you vote on my motion, do you need to open it to the audience?
Yeah, I intend to. So, I want to open it to the audience. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I'll ask one more time. Do I have anyone from the audience? Okay, because Sal is not here and he was the one primarily involved with this. How about members? Any members have any questions on this? It looks pretty straightforward to me.
We got a motion.
I have a motion, Paul, and seconded by,
From Dean.
As far as
By
time
Dean.
though, we have two
Continue.
hearings already, one at 6:30, one at 6:40, so it'd have to be at 6:45,
Okay.
on what date?
6:45, July 18th.
July 18th.
July 18th.
Who was the second?
Yes,
Thank you.
I volunteered the second,
Six.
I guess.
Okay, let's continue to 6:45. It was 6:35 or 6:45?
6:45.
6:45.
6:45. A second open public meeting.
Did you take
Right,
a
so
vote?
you-
we
I
vote
did
on
you
it?
vote?
Oh, yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Sorry about that. 6:35, open public meeting, site plan 428 Lancaster Street, map 355, parcel 7, Lucas Restaurant.
It's not my job.
Get that thing out of the way. Yeah, put it on the back here. So, I got it.
Board of Health? Any discuss comments? No. I checked my email just now, I didn't.
For the record, Bill Hannigan with Hannigan Engineering. First off, thanks to the board for allowing us to do this on an expedited review. Appreciate that very much. This is the existing conditions for Lucas Restaurant on Lancaster Street in Leominster, located on the north side of Lancaster Street. The building has been historically used as a restaurant, as everyone knows. There was a fire recently which rendered the building no longer usable, so they have to raise the structure. So what we've done is we've taken a look at the existing conditions relative to both site layout, parking, utilities, et cetera, and we've developed a new site plan for the project. We have here. So you can see that the configuration of the building changes quite a bit. It's going to become a long and narrow structure. There would be an entry in this location right here. We've actually flipped some of the components. The kitchen will now actually be towards the front of the building, which will allow restaurant seating to happen in the back, also allowing a couple of exit doors here for a patio to be built behind the building. This could be, have a tent on it for events, etc., with additional access from the parking lot. The parking lot, now instead of having the backing into the street parking from the front of the property, we're proposing to put granite curbing in here. One of the concerns of the owner is that previously there were cars that were actually parked here that would get hit by someone trying to take a left onto Elmdale Ave. Car coming westbound would just try to go to the right of them and hit the cars in the parking lot. So putting a nice granite curb there, vertical, will hopefully stop the cars from driving through that area a little bit more quickly, and also improve the access to the site. One of the major improvements on the site, if you look at the existing to the proposed, is the parking. You can see here that they had some parking along the front, some along the side, and then really just open pavement in the back where everyone kind of just did a mismatch of parking. This parking configuration brings the site from about 15 spaces plus the 4 along the front to 27 spaces. That's a significant increase in parking. Also provides compliant parking, which is even better. So the parking situation is much improved. The main entry is also will be straddled by the 2 handicap spaces required for the project. Access will be provided through the door here, and once again, you'll have the patio in the back. This sidewalk here is for deliveries, so the building will have a door in this location here to receive product from the different restaurant vendors as they bring them in. We're planning on landscaping in front and probably providing some sort of a screen, either be by fencing or by vegetation, to kind of just screen the area as being a delivery area, but at the same time not obstructing the view of the building. There's presently a sign in this location here that'll be repositioned, essentially right at this island here. Probably a different sign, but that'll be an improvement. And the utilities, basically the site, as you can see from the sheet flow, it basically drains from the street all the way to the back into this corner here. A little bit that drains down towards the front. So what we've done is we've changed the ridge line of the property, of the site, to be more in this area here, bringing this flow back into this location here to a stone apron, which then will be directed to an infiltration settling basin to allow for peak rate mitigation. And an overflow from that would then go off the property to the neighbors, which it presently does now. But there is a significant change in the pavement characteristic back here versus what is there now. Landscaping, present site has really no landscaping per se. This will provide areas for landscape beds to be placed around the front of the building, around the site. We'll also be adding trees for the project. The tree count, based upon the increase in parking, we have to add 4 more trees, but we've also have to cut 2 down. So adding those 2 back in for a total of 6, but we actually have 7 shown on there for the parking. Snow storage areas basically would be along the back, as you would expect, plow towards the back, and that would also allow the snow to melt into the ground or get into the basin in that area there. So overall, a dramatic improvement both on site layout, available parking, access to the building from the parking lot, some significant improvements. As far as what the building is going to look like, this is the present rendering of the building, where this would be the main entrance, and he shaded for the sunlight effect of things, but you can see that the doors are located in here that will go out onto the patio. So this would be the main entrance. This would be the kitchen area with some lights above. This would be the dining area in the back of the building. Okay, so I think I've run through all of the elements that we typically talk about. The lighting for the site will be done essentially off the building. We don't anticipate any additional lighting, pole-mounted lighting, to be needed for the project. I think once we get into the construction prior to construction, we'll take a look at, once the architect has the lighting layout for the building, we can then assess whether we need to add a pole light, mount light, but that would have to meet the requirements of the city ordinance. So with that, if there are any questions, we have to.
Just curious about the setback requirement there on this side.
There is none. Okay, so this is a business B district, so there's no setback required unless you're on a residential border. So there is a 10-foot setback on this side, but 0 on this side. Okay.
Bill, I see that it's coming out into the street where that curb cut is. The sign is not going to impede any view
No.
to pull out?
No,
Great.
the sign will be basically in this area. The sign that they're gonna have to put up is not what they have now. What they have now doesn't meet the code because of its height, and it's not allowing that visual opening. So the sign's gonna be a little higher to allow the sign itself to not obstruct the view up and down the street.
And you had
Good.
two waivers, right?
Yep, we asked for 2 waivers. One was for the landscape plan to require a landscape architect, which is,
Sidewalk.
and then the area of the sidewalk right in front of the door in here, this is less than 4 feet, less than 5 feet right here. And part of that is trying to make everything fit and meet the requirements for the setback of the parking from the property line, trying to allow some setback here for construction purposes. But this is 4 feet here, but this is also a little alcove, so it does go in a little bit, so it's more than 4 feet, more than 5 feet at the door, but just left and right of it, it's 4 feet. It's not really even an ADA issue because the ADA is going to be coming straight into the building anyways. So that's the only waiver we ask for relative to sidewalks. The other sidewalks are 5 feet, if not larger.
The right one's there, okay. Beautiful. Looks good. Okay.
New department head comments.
I'll open it up, on the department head, well, let's open it up to the audience first. Do I have anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this project? Oh.
It's your
Oh, come on, you gotta tell us.
You gotta say something.
That's technically speaking up.
You gotta say something.
You gotta say your name.
You
Say
can't-
your name and address.
Give me your name and your address and all the good
Jody
food.
Gavick, and hopefully that's my home, 428 Lancaster Street, Leominster. I don't know, I think you did a great job. I
Okay,
think it looks good.
okay, thank you. Do I have any other comments from the audience? Okay. Anything from the board? I'm gonna go through the comments from the,
Just a quick note, we had to do a rapid turnaround for this to make the project move on a quick timeline, and we didn't get comments from Health Department. And Stephanie, was there another one you were waiting on?
Just the house.
Just the Health, but you have the rest of them. You have the DPW director stating that he wants you to provide a level spreader detail.
Right, so in this corner here, we have a level spreader, which is, it's laid out on the plan, but the detail, like, apparently didn't make the detail sheet, so a lot of that detail sheet prior to construction.
okay?
The building commissioner approves. Fire department stated that they approve. The Conservation Commission says that erosion controls and landscaping included in the plan are satisfactory to conservation. Use of native species and landscaping is strongly encouraged. Assessors approves. And the police department approves.
Okay. So we did the Board of Health now. The Board of Health, if we just concerned with a grease trap, you got a grease trap?
Yeah,
in
we
there?
have a restrap, external restrap waiver.
Okay. And they'll be in their conditions anyway, so.
Right. That's part of the building.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to go up to them for approval of the grease trap. I think that's the only thing they would particularly concerned about. Okay, so I don't think we have to worry about too much about that. Any other comments from the board? Any other?
Before you close the hearing, I was like,
Yeah.
Lucas is my favorite restaurant in Leominster, so I'm really thrilled.
Mine
to see
too.
that. So good luck and hurry up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what are you gonna do with the food truck?
Oh, it's going, it's not stopping. We
He's
just
parked
don't.
outside right after we've done this meeting or something.
It's back outside, ready to have some.
Hope you're hungry.
There you go. Okay, sounds good.
All right, I move to close the hearing.
I have a motion made and seconded to close the hearing. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Regular meeting, call to order.
Paul Weiser.
Here.
Patrick Perla.
Here.
Sal Chaconi, excuse. John Souza.
Here.
Tom Kerrigan.
Here.
Jason Parre.
Here.
Dean Valier.
Here.
And we're missing also Carol Vittorioso. Excuse.
Minutes of previous meetings.
All right. I'd like to say thank you. I introduced everyone to our intern Cooper Matthews. Cooper, I put him to task, and he did his due diligence, and he did these minutes for you for May 16th. So, was Tom absent on
You didn't have that.
Yes.
I think,
Wants to abstain. Yeah, Tom, you might want to abstain. Might want to,
I wasn't there.
so that I don't have to make you sign a paper that you saw the meeting. And
you got here, Mr. Weiser made a motion to approve the minutes with an amendment. We had an amendment on that. Because we had,
with the amendment from Mr. Victoria.
with Carol.
How many minutes we're gonna have amendments for in regards to this particular
No,
part of the enumeration?
yeah, okay.
You said
The motion will be in order to accept the minutes with amendment.
So moved.
second.
Motion made and second. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
One abstention.
Okay, plan submitted, site plan for 428 Lancaster Street, map 355, parcel 7, Luca's Restaurant. What's your wish, gentlemen?
Well, it looks good.
We got the waivers, we gotta deal with the
Well,
waivers.
you're under plan submitted, and we don't need to schedule it, so when we get to new business, we'll go over
No, it's right now, plan.
So
Oh, no, we've already, that's
waiver-
right.
Paul's hungry.
Oh, yeah, it's on there twice.
We've already done it.
It's already on there, so,
Oh, that's an error.
so let me just move on.
Yes.
No, I put it under plan submitted because it was new, it hadn't been,
Right. But it's scheduled, so we don't have to do anything,
Yeah,
It's already scheduled.
Just move down to the new business.
so disregard that.
or go to 3.2.
Yeah,
3.2.
so 3.2 and for 86 and 196 Main Street. Yeah, we can share that. This is pipe shed.
For the record, Bill Haney with Haney Engineering. If you remember correctly, we just had a site plan review for this new building at 196. And the original intention was to merge the parcels together into a single lot, which was stated in our letter. Due to the financing that's already existing on the back building, that the lawyer more or less said, you can't do that. So what we're doing instead was, the objective of doing that was to make sure that the 196 building had sufficient parking on the lot that the 196 building was working with. So by changing the lot lines from this line here to this line here, that puts all the parking behind the building on the same lot as the building, so therefore compliance is met.
Now, did that,
15? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
now did that change your plan?
Nope, did not change the site plan at all.
So your plan was already pretty much the same?
The site plan, originally, we were gonna merge it all into one big lot, because Dan owns it all.
Yeah.
But because he already had finance, he didn't think about the fact that he already has financing in place on the other building.
Okay.
He couldn't do that without it getting messy. So this is a
Okay.
cleaner, we were gonna do an easement plan, but this just seemed to be a cleaner way of doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the
So-
building's already in, it's already in the construction
framed.
and, that would be clean. Yeah.
Half frame.
Good.
I move to endorse.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded to endorse. Do you have any questions?
Like, don't roll them up, because I gotta put them all together.
Yeah. Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Whole business, city council petition 2022. Three overflow lots for amend zoning on pertaining to parking of unregistered vehicles. Planning board to make recommendation. Well, actually, it should be planning board to submit new petition.
But we tabled it.
Elizabeth. But
Okay.
we tabled it, but that,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a new petition rather than a recommendation to city council. So that's just a note for the next time. Okay? So that, we have a motion, you've already tabled that to the next meeting.
Continue.
4.2, deviation from approved subdivision plan. Southgate Business Park, map 305, parcel 3-12, lot 10, Technology Drive.
Mr. Chairman, for the record.
You may recall that the board wanted to allow the applicant and more time to work out the language of the motion for the, with the abutting property owners.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, for the record, Tom Lavenzi for the applicant Southgate. So we were able to work out the language. Attorney Spencer Holland's here tonight from Mark O'Connell, who represents the other landowner, Beverly Worrell. And we have proposed a vote for the board's consideration. And basically, it's similar to what had been proposed last time, except it's expressly stated that Beverly Worrell's subdivision has been rescinded. So relative to that portion of the subdivision plan, which is the Paper Street Technology Drive, that's the basic motion is to modify it, to remove that from the subdivision. So she has some lots that were depicted on that Paper Street, and she's asking that those be removed in its entirety. And then Technology Drive would be removed in its entirety, both from my client's land and from the abutter, Mrs. Worrell's land. So we've drafted, or it's been put together by council that we're in agreement with for Worrell, and it has those 3 points in there. The road will be removed. Any changes would have to come back in front of this board in the future, either as a proposed subdivision plan, or an A&R plan, or a surveyor's plan that shows the land that's been removed, now Technology Drive. And then just to make clear that anything that pertains to the Worrell site is being rescinded, so there is no subdivision on that piece of the appendage, so to speak. So I think we forwarded over a proposed vote that meets with approval of all the landowners for the board's consideration.
Okay. So how do we stand on this, Elizabeth? What kind of action do we have to take?
Well, it's a deviation from approved subdivision, so you need to approve it with the previous conditions that were already approved in 2017 and 2007, I believe. And then with the condition, if the board chooses to make this condition with the language that has been suggested by.
So this is what we have here.
Yeah, this is what you have here in front of you. Vote to modify definitive subdivision plans, marginal references.
Okay, so this is the modified plan. Where's the legend?
And you said that the waivers weren't required because they're removing the road.
Right,
So we didn't need to do waivers. New waivers.
okay. And so everybody had a chance to look at this?
This was in the packet.
Language, but
Yeah, it was in the packet.
we don't have a new drawing, right?
No, there's no drawing, this is all, this is just a link.
There was
submitted
last
originally.
time.
Originally, it was a drawing.
Which is now different based on this language.
No, the drawing stays the same, right?
No, you're saying there are buildings on the drawing that are now not.
No, so the drawing doesn't change, but the narrative is that it removes the roadway shown as Technology Drive on those drawings, and those portions of the land in that drawing that's owned by Whirl is removed from the subdivisions.
So the drawings effectively are the drawings that were already approved and are on record at the registry of deeds.
Okay, so this is just a clarification between parties on their property, as I understand it.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have, it looks, I have to refer to my attorney on the board.
I think Mr. Renzi did a great job.
That's a great job.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys all stick together.
Make sure my client knows that.
Okay, so would this be a modification, okay? So the motion would be in order to accept it.
Deviation from a, it's not a
Yeah, to
deviation.
vote to modify the definitive subdivision plans. Okay? And with this,
Someone has to move to accept that.
So just so I'm clear, the
Yeah.
deviation is this language that was in the packet?
The
that's correct.
deviation is the plan that was approved, that you had the memo from
Right.
last week.
With the language in the packet.
Yes,
Yes,
So we're adopting that language in whole.
we're adopting this language here.
including the 2000, what was approved in 2017 and 2007.
Right. But the only new piece tonight is this.
The only new piece is this.
And so we're adopting that as written.
As a
what
condition.
Is what we're voting on now.
Right.
Okay, just so I'm clear.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm glad you're asking the questions. Okay. Good. Motion is in order to accept this.
I make a motion to accept the deviation to modify the definitive subdivision plans.
I will second that.
Have a motion made and seconded. Any further
With-
discussion?
With the
The
language,
2017 and 2007 language.
yes, as was approved in 2017 and 2007,
Per this packet.
Yes,
With-
with that. amendment.
with the,
Marginal references,
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
number 8839, page 57, book 2867, 141.
You got it. We got it all. I have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counsel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
New business, 5.1. Site plan for 428 Lancaster Street, map 355, parcel 7, Lucas Restaurant. I think the plan looks good to me. We've got some waivers that we have to accept.
2 waivers.
2 waivers. First is on the 5-foot sidewalk, but that's right on that, just in that area. And the second waiver is on the landscape. Okay, architect. But they still have to have their landscaping. Well, the
They
ordinance
have to
called-
landscape it, but they don't have to have it done by a licensed landscape
Right.
architect. If you have the waiver.
trees and
Well, the ordinance say you have to have it on there.
Is that building gonna be closer to the street than it is now?
I think it might be.
But it looks less room.
Well, we got rid of the parking.
Used to be able to park a car.
Yeah, we don't want that anymore.
No parking.
It's dangerous.
Oh, yeah,
Good for
definitely.
business, but you know.
And there's a light pole there. They were
Yes.
trying to park in between the light pole and.
That was the handicap spot.
It was. Yeah, nobody could get into it.
Right 50 years ago, we've gone over.
Yeah, So-
With only 4 cars on the street.
right.
No, it's a good plan.
Well, they had room, those days, they had room for the horse and buggy.
Walk
Okay,
there so you can walk back and work the buildings off.
so a motion is in order to accept this with,
I'll make a motion to accept it with the Q waivers.
I will second.
Can you vote on the waivers?
Can you want to say the
You have to
section
vote on the
numbers?
waivers.
Separately?
It's 22-58.4.2. This one.
Yes, that one.
And then 22-62.3.1.
Let's do the first one, whatever those numbers.
Make a motion to accept waiver 22-58.4.2.
Second?
I have a motion made and second to accept the waiver. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
And make a
Motion
motion to
carries.
accept waiver 22-62.3.1 also.
Motion made and seconded on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion on the project with waivers. Motion by Paul, seconded by
Second? I'll
Jeff.
be Jason.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is that with Elizabeth to review before certificate of occupancy? Elizabeth?
Yes, it was.
Communications.
That's a-
I got it.
With the waiver for you to review before the certificate of occupancy, the conditions?
That's the
That's
new
part of the conditions.
protocol now, right?
It's boilerplate.
Yep.
Yeah.
I might have missed that when I was out.
Okay, communication,
Guys,
Bill,
sure
is
you're
yours.
on a boiler.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bill.
Good luck.
Here is some dinner.
Very good. Discussion, incomplete site plan, put the Solicitor Building Office official for comments and concerns on our feedback. And I think that's why you're here today. And we've had a lot of comments. I mean, I see, I have to go by it every day, almost every day, is on Lancaster Street, no.
We can't say addresses.
On Lawrence Street, in the corner of Lawrence and Ashwood, like that building that they put in, and it seemed like they've stopped. They got their occupancy permit and everything, they've not done anything on their landscaping. And how do we get that done? How does that proceed, how's that gonna happen now? I mean, with the new ordinance, we could go back, and at the time of occupancy, we could put a bond on that to get it done. But we don't have that for that building, so how does that one particularly get done?
So what is it that they're missing from their site plan?
Well, I'm saying, there was a whole landscape plan,
Okay,
okay, and there's huge piles of dirt there that were not on the plan, and there's a culvert that's open. I don't know if that's supposed to be detention pond or not, but it hasn't been landscaped or anything. There's no landscaping on the outside, so I'm just saying, I'm looking at it, and it looks like it's an incomplete piece of plan. The landscaping hasn't been done.
okay, so I would suggest that a letter be written up and sent to them, telling them they have to follow their site plan. And then if that doesn't do anything, then it can come back to me and I can send them a letter and we can start finding them.
My impression, I've been told for years, that you are the enforcement officer for the planning board. Okay.
Then if you write up a letter to me telling me what's wrong, then I can go and send them a letter.
Makes sense.
Okay, I want to get this done, because these are the things that,
Is that culvert staying open?
I don't know, I have to look at, I have to get the site plan.
Having a big,
No,
huge hole in the middle
no,
of the property.
I didn't think it
I
does.
haven't been by there, have you? You seen it?
Every day.
Yeah,
I go by it about 30 times a day.
It's the place with the,
Yeah.
yeah. There's huge piles of loam, and it's just
Quonset.
not, they're not taking any action on it whatsoever.
Well, I know they're probably waiting for power, because they have lights, because they have a little bit of power. If they have no meter socket, they have nothing. So,
They have lights in there, but they're not fully, I don't think they're fully powered.
So construction is
I
still
don't
in
get-
progress.
It's sitting on the pole, there's no transformer there.
Construction is still in progress.
I don't know, you can tell us to that.
I'm not the electrical inspector. I got no idea what's going on
I'm
there.
pretty sure he doesn't really have his full power yet. He's using it because he's using it as storage. He's got racks in there, and he's got some lights in there, but he doesn't have he has no meter socket on the side of the building. I don't have a meter socket in my addition. I finished it last November.
Cool.
And I still don't have power. So,
Yeah, I did hear some sort of a thing about how they already had power, I think, to the Quonset hut.
Right.
So they jumped it into the main building.
For lights.
But yeah, they're waiting for a transformer, and it takes close to a year to get a transformer in Leominster.
November, well, September will be a year. We ordered it. It's pretty bad.
So, and that one, and I think the other one is that I know of, and I
Ooh,
know
can't
is,
mention address.
Can't
It's
mention
not, it's
address.
not on the agenda, so I can't mention the address.
giving it,
Don't mention
It's
it.
not on the address. I mean, it's not on the agenda to say
You
that
can
address.
just speak in terms.
I wasn't giving any address.
Okay, you're good
We
then.
said the corner. Yeah, just be
I
careful.
said the corner, I
You're
gave
good.
it
Okay.
proximity.
Okay.
Proximity of the corner.
It's the proximity,
Okay.
okay? Same thing with the, on Lock Drive. The big yellow building.
Without giving address away, I just
Basically just.
Not on the agenda.
But no, but again, they've done the same, they got all kinds of parking, there's supposed to be landscaping on the right.
I think there are probably 3 properties that you already know about because I emailed you, that we're looking into where the site plan wasn't completed as the planning board approved. And I've sent you emails
Yep, about
asking
20 of
you.
them. Yep.
And are you saying that emails aren't sufficient, you need an actual letter before you?
Well, here's the thing, you've, several of these places, so there's one of them that they did all kinds of stuff. They put in a driveway that they probably weren't supposed to. And we talked to them, they agreed that they were gonna correct it, and it hasn't been corrected, so we can go back to there again. Then there's another one where a guy is parking vehicles, but it's a little bit of a confusing thing because he went to the planning board, he got approved, he's got a parking plan and everything, but he's got extra vehicles there. But it's kind of a tricky one because he's got vehicles parked in an industrial zone, and it's not an actual parking lot. It's just he's got stuff parked there.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's on, Tanzio. Tanzio,
Yeah, no,
Yes, sir.
no address.
No names, no addresses.
no address. Okay, that's the storage building. And so he had parking for part of the storage right in the front, but then he's got all the land next to it, and he's got all kinds of vehicles in there.
and then there's another location where somebody has a whole bunch of cars parked with absolutely no permission from anybody, and I haven't done anything with that because I was waiting to get the overflow lot
Ordinance, the updates.
ordinance finished,
Okay,
so that we can try to get him to follow what the ordinance says, because right now, the only ordinance is you can only have one unregistered car. And so I was waiting for the ordinance to get done so that I could include parts of that into a letter to send to the gentleman,
yeah. Okay.
so.
We're getting inputs from people, from the corner office and the big funnels, and so we're saying, how do we, we just want to work together to get this done. And if it means that we have to get an ordinance written, which we're trying to do,
Yep.
then we'll do that. And then we want to make sure that we have good communications between our departments, that we can address these things, and that's my goal. Yeah,
Good job,
Elizabeth's goal.
if I may, because I'm still confused. It sounds like what we're trying to, what the purpose of this discussion is, correct me if I'm wrong, is we're looking to figure out how to enforce things after they leave here.
Right.
And if I'm understanding you correctly, Peter, you're saying all it takes is for a letter from the planning board to you, and then you'll go and pick up the ball.
In some cases, but it all depends on what the issue is, okay? Because if there's an issue that's a clear-cut violation of the rules, then we can go after them and try to enforce them. But when you have a gentleman say, I'm gonna do everything you just told me to do, you gotta give him a little bit of time, that particular guy didn't do any of the things that that he promised.
And then you'll go back and.
So we gotta go back again, and so,
So if there's, is there some lack of communication between the two offices or
No.
something that's holding
I don't
up
think so.
enforcement?
no, Elizabeth lets me know about the situations,
And then you let her know what's,
and I don't let her know as much as she lets me know, because I'm just waiting for some of these things to get resolved,
okay,
to go back to some of these other issues.
okay.
Yeah. We're trying, do you have any recommendations of something that we can do, be it another ordinance or something with more teeth into it, that we can,
Well,
to get things done?
I believe you have a proposed ordinance where
Right.
they're gonna have to have a bond. The only thing,
That's approved now. The performance bond,
it's all approved.
that's all
Yeah,
approved.
so the only
sent you a letter about that.
performance bond is that you guys, or somebody has to go out before the occupancy permit to see what needs to be done, so that we can let them know beforehand, because you don't want somebody to have the whole building done, minus say landscaping, and then all of a sudden, then somebody goes up and says, oh, we need a bond down here.
Right.
Okay? I don't know when you should collect the bond, but it's not when they're asking for an occupancy permit. That should,
That's what the ordinance says is.
and I don't know how that's gonna work, because now, let's just make off, somebody's putting in a convenience store, they're all set to open, but they didn't put their bushes in,
Then they get the bond, and then they can.
then they have to get a bond, get their bushes in, then they gotta come back and ask for their bond money back.
Right.
Before I can issue, so you're gonna hold up the opening of a store.
No, because they're
That's
gonna
like
get
the
their bond.
worst case scenario, where the best case scenario is somebody doesn't have a parking plan that is completely the opposite of what we outlined in the site plan,
Yeah.
and then they open up and get their occupancy
In
permit.
other words,
So that would be an unfortunate circumstance, what you just outlined. But, I mean, if we have to deal with that to stop all the other people that shouldn't be getting the occupancy permits, because the site plans weren't done accordingly. Well, it's working.
our goal is, the way that was written, was that at the time somebody gets a site plan, just like Lucas today, okay? In their package, when they get back, they will get a letter saying that this is required. They will know in advance, for them to get their occupancy permit, they have to have the site plan completed. Okay, or a bond to cover it. So they will know from henceforward, they will know in advance.
And we copy you on all the
Yeah.
notices of decision, and we have all the plans, and I've agreed that I will inspect the properties,
Yeah,
right?
that should work.
Yeah.
So we try to give that a try. If in a year or two that doesn't work and we still have issues and things come up like you're saying, and we're really holding people up, then we'll change it to, they have to do the bond at the time they get their site plan. Okay, and that's the other option, that, okay, your site plan to do your site work and do the whole thing is gonna be a $10 million, or, I'll pick on Lucas because it was tonight, that's probably $1 million building. Pretty good numbers, it's a large building, so we say, you gotta bond that whole thing. Well, we don't wanna bond that whole thing. Okay, so that's where we got into a point where we didn't wanna have to bond the whole project. We wanted to do it at a later time where it was primarily the site plan and the surrounding property. Okay, you get our drift?
Yeah.
And
So now it's just a matter of seeing how it works out. It sounds like it's gonna work good.
Yep.
So we just gotta give it a little chance to work with people coming in.
So we give it a try and see what happens, and if it gets into the situation like you talked about, then we're gonna have to make some kind of modification to do that, okay? But we're hoping that they'll get the letter on the front and say, hey, when you get the occupancy, you have to have your site plan, or you'll be required to have a bond, and they'll have it up front. Okay? So anybody got any other questions, or anything else we gotta bring up? No, I think we, I'm looking forward to getting this all straightened away and working good. I think we can. I know we can.
Yep.
So, it's good. Okay,
Mr. Niles, go ahead.
and thank you for coming tonight.
No problem.
Thanks, man. Thanks for hanging around all night.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Okay, we can move on to,
You don't want
Yeah.
to stay for the rest of the meeting,
I
Peter?
do know. Ooh, look at free transportation.
yeah. I want to see you ride that down the stairs. Mary Avenue Extension subdivision. Board to determine amount of bond for road improvements.
All right, we have a developer who has done a subdivision with the planning board and who now wants to get building permits. And they've done a lot of the infrastructure needed, but not all of it. They've done past phase 1 of completions, which is the base coat and other improvements, but they haven't done the top coat. And there's a list of items in front of you. It says bond value estimate
Okay,
of items that are outstanding. But we did, instead of having the DPW do an estimate, we went to an outside consultant, which we talked about at previous meetings, and we agreed upon McCarty Associates. And they did the estimate as to how much it would cost to finalize the subdivision turnkey. And they added, in our ordinance, it's a the original in your packet, it says 10% contingency, but our ordinance says a 20% contingency. So I had them recalculate it with the 20%, and that's the piece that I put in front of your seats. So the total amount on the recommended bond value is $175,492.90. And the DPW looked at this and they approved of this.
well, did they have a comment?
I'm sorry.
201.
I'm reading off of the old one.
They had some suggestions, I think it was as-built and some sort of grading, bound settings, so.
Bounds,
Yes,
Bounds,
they
that
revised
was
it
added in.
and then increased the percentage to 20%.
and we don't know what that is.
That's $201,001.80.
Okay, I don't have that one.
$201.80. So that's the amount of the bond that the board should collect, that's recommended by our consultant.
Okay.
Okay,
And then if we collect this bond amount, then we can release the covenants on the lots.
okay.
How many lots can be sold?
I think there's,
4 lots, I think.
3 or 4? There were 3.
3 lots, there used to be 4, then they got cut down to 3, yeah.
and then they can get building permits. And then we have the money, and then they
So they haven't done anything down there yet, have they?
No.
They haven't
building
started-
permits.
Mary Ave.
They've done a lot of construction.
There's no road in here.
Yes.
Why, there was a.
This is just what it costs to do the outstanding amount.
Well, it says pavement, top course, and base course. You said the base course is already done.
That's what my impression was.
That's probably why it's not reflected on this.
There's nothing in there for that.
This new one.
It's already
It's
done.
just 122 tons of top coat.
Oh, okay. There's no estimate, okay. It's just what, that's okay.
They just have to do the top coat.
Great.
Yeah, that's all that's on here.
These are just things that need to be completed.
These are outstanding items.
These are outstanding.
Outstanding items are all detailed in this itemized
There was
list.
a 20%, so the bond would be 200, okay. That's the recommendation that we have from our engineer. Do we have a motion to accept this bond?
Motion to accept the
To
bond
require
as
the bond.
recommended. Motion to
We
require
don't have
the
the bond
bond
yet.
as recommended.
No, recommend the bond.
Yes.
We recommend the bond value.
Motion to recommend the bond as recommended.
What is recommended?
$201,000.
$201,001.80.
Second.
Have a motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Do we need a separate motion to release the covenants? Or do we wait until we get the bond?
You have to get
We
the
get the
bond.
bond
You have to
first.
get the bond
We
first.
get the bond first, and then on the next
And
agenda,
then,
after we get the
then we
bond,
release the
we release the
covenants.
covenants.
Right.
Okay.
yeah. So this is on the bond. Any further discussion on this? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
All right, we have,
Oh, our favorite topic every year. Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission, MRPC representative.
Hey, Fred is on it.
Fred, are you back?
Are you back there? I can fly back from there. You pay the price.
See, Fred had to come back. He just couldn't stay away from our meetings, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Nice to see you, Fred.
Do we have anybody volunteering?
no, we've had Dean doing this, and he's been doing a great job.
Yeah, Dean, which one were you on, Dean?
I'm on the Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission.
Can you stay, would you like to stay on that?
I would be happy to, although I can only make about half the meetings a year, but
Well, that's better than anybody
Better than
else.
mine. I've never made one.
Okay. So Dean's
He's the man.
the man. It doesn't, we'll have to vote on that. Motion would be in order to accept Dean Valier as a,
John,
don't we have to do that like,
yeah, it's just a recommendation, and then it has to go on the next agenda and vote then, because it has to be posted twice.
oh,
Yeah, so you would actually vote this.
okay, recommended. Thank you.
Yeah.
not so?
Recommended that Dean Valier be nominated for the representative.
So,
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion
Yeah, we're not
carries.
voting tonight.
Joint
We're just putting it on the next agenda.
Joint Transportation Committee representative.
Is this not
Who would like to
Peter
be on-
Latchis, or
that didn't.
Sorry, what?
is this the one that Peter Latchis?
Peter
was-
Latchis was on it, but it's gone virtual.
Is it still virtual, or is it?
It's gone virtual, and it's staying virtual, and Peter Latchis doesn't.
Want to do virtual meetings,
virtual.
right?
He doesn't.
Massachusetts still
Too
virtual.
busy.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't think it's
How
gonna
often
change.
do they meet? Even though-
No more than once a month.
It's a monthly.
Once a month. It's actually kind of interesting. You get involved with all the different intersections in all of northern Worcester County, and what roads and what recommendations, not only with us, but in Fitchburg and Lancaster and, Ashby, Ashburnham. So it gives you a good overlay. And it gives you an input of things to be done. I did my turn.
Carol's not here.
Jason, I think you should.
Carol's not here.
Carol,
You can nominate somebody that's not on the board to go on the board's behalf.
Oh, that's
If
good.
we did
You know
that,
somebody.
options are endless.
Yeah, we get,
I got,
yeah,
who, me? Me and my
Okay.
4 children under the age of 10 and a baby.
I'll be busy that weekend.
okay, we'll leave that nomination open.
Kids want to do it?
Do we put it on the July
I
agenda?
have no recommendation. Okay, director's report.
Okay, everyone has
Sounds
a
riveting.
present in front of them. You have your zoning books. It's been 9 years or so.
Thank you.
Those are printed by per John's suggestion, we went to the high school. They have a department that does printing, and they did a wonderful job printing those for us at a wonderful price. And read them, be your Bible.
Oh, yeah, we got a printer for about a third of what,
Yeah, and it was John's idea. He knew he had a connection, and it
and,
worked out.
the high school, so,
Good idea.
You couldn't love it.
Per our contracts, we have
Yeah.
to refer to it at every grace.
So you have that. And then I got a notice in the mail about a golfing invitational. And I don't know if this is something that you watch as a spectator, or is it something you participate in? It doesn't say. It says that LIV Golf Invitational Series
That's the
Boston.
That's the
Golf
Saudi
tournament, yeah.
Arabian Golf.
I'm gonna pass on the Saudi involvement.
Okay, well, we got that in the mail today.
Came certified.
What's that? From-
Came certified
We're being,
To the board.
to the planning board.
they offer us
What organization?
contractual,
Yes.
Bolton, the town of Bolton, Mass.
Oh, it came from International, yeah.
But they're not offering for us to play and
Yeah.
pay us.
This is something,
Although I will play for one point.
For the appearance fee.
Yeah, I know, but,
well, this came to us, so I'm
Yeah, no.
relating it to you.
okay,
I'm pretty sure we're not gonna have
Anybody
to the
wants to
Saudis, so we can move on.
Watch
I'm not, no.
Labor Day weekend.
It's gonna be a little out, I think it's a little outside of my budget.
And then, I've got Cooper here. I introduced him earlier, and I want to let everybody know he's been doing a fabulous job. He's been doing minutes. He's also been helping me go through all the old files and do an inventory and make a digital, a spreadsheet of all the files that we have with the developers, the engineers, the street names, other information, and then locating it where it is within the cabinets so that we can, if someone comes with a street name or a name of a project, we can just type it in, Control F,
Nice.
and then pull it up, and if we have it, we know we have it. If we don't have it, well, we know we don't have it.
That's great.
So it's
amazing, really.
been great. It's
Good
been,
job,
it's
Tom.
tedious work. But it's very
It's
helpful
something we
to
needed
the
for about
department.
15 years,
Welcome.
or longer, so,
What year are you in eighth?
I have one semester left.
And what's your aspiration? What are you looking to do?
I'm studying community and environmental planning.
Oh, very great. Awesome.
And welcome to the 21st century, the plan.
So we referred him right in and trying to give him all the experience we can give him.
Awesome.
Must be impressed with our technological setup here.
don't comment on that.
That's all I had to.
We got them in the old files digging deep, so, it's working out pretty good.
If there's anything you need from
And we have
the
the
other
one
board
for-
members,
Do we have any other questions or
references,
comments?
you know, reach out.
Absolutely.
Is that, motion is on?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is on, motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Do you want to comment?